Evening. Class 13, one more week for now. All right, well, tonight's class is about fasting. Yeah, big topic, big topic. It's interesting, I was reviewing all my notes and all the information I have on my computer about fasting because I have tons of articles, and looking at all the physical benefits of fasting and the spiritual benefits of fasting, and just got really excited, really excited to revisit a lot of that information about what happens physically. That's what we're really going to focus on tonight, physically what happens to the body when we fast. And as I was getting excited about it, the Lord kind of put it on my heart, and he hit me with the fact that, oh yeah, you actually want me to do this too. Because it's not easy. You know, if you feel called to live a life of fasting and prayer, you know that it's a challenge. We really battle with our flesh. And it's challenging. I mean, we physically have to do it. We don't just think about it. We don't just talk about it. We have to be doers of the word, not hearers only. And, you know, I love Paul when he says that I have to bring my body into subjection lest I render myself disqualified. So if I'm up here talking about it, I better be doing it, huh? So it's a great topic. It's a challenging topic. I'm not going to focus too heavily on the spiritual benefits of fasting. You guys have heard that over and over and over, and IHOP's great about talking about that. And there's lots of good books in the bookstore. There's lots of great information about the spiritual benefits of fasting. I'm really going to focus on physically what happens to the body when we fast and why it's important to fast on the physical level. Now, I'm going to make a fairly bold statement right now because I truly feel this in my heart, that there is no single better way to heal the body of any affliction than fasting and prayer, period. And we're going to go in and talk about why, that it doesn't matter what your sickness is or what your illness is, you can cast it out with fasting and prayer. It's huge. Roman numeral 1, here we go. What is fasting? Paragraph A, fasting is a period of abstinence. So we can abstain and we can fast from a number of things. We're going to be talking a lot about food here, of course, but you can not watch TV for a week or play video games or anything that's kind of distracting you from your relationship with God, and all those things are great to fast. Food is one of the biggest ones and probably one of the most challenging ones. That's why I think it's really important to focus in this area. But the goal of fasting is always to connect to God's heart. That's always the goal of fasting. And if you look at all the great men and women that have written about their great relationship with God, the men and women of the Bible or in recent history, if you read Piper or John G. Lake or, any of these guys, you see what the focus is on. It's always about fasting and prayer, and that's always where they get their breakthroughs. So it's definitely something that we really need to focus on. Paragraph B, is fasting dangerous? I believe there's a strongly unwarranted fear when it comes to fasting. And I think that's because a lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people haven't tried it because of the fear. And when you understand the inherent wisdom of the body, it'll take some of that fear away. That's what I hope to accomplish tonight. But at the same time, I want to talk to you about some things that you do need to be aware of when it comes to fasting, because it's not necessarily, let's just say a lot of people aren't educated on how to fast, and it actually can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So it's very important to understand the proper way to do this. Science proves now what happens physically to the body when we fast, and we're going to get into good detail on that. But one point I wanted to make, and I bolded it there in paragraph B, is the goal is fasting, not starvation. We're not starving ourselves. So I'll explain that in a little more detail when we talk about exactly what happens to the body when we fast. Almost anyone in general good health can fast at least for 40 days without food. And it really depends on the physical health of the body, but I've seen a lot of information that people can easily live, well, I shouldn't say easily, but a lot of people could live, if they had to, for 100-plus days with no food. That's with only water. So that's the resilience of the human body. So doing a fast is not going to result in a dangerous situation if you know what you're doing. So a couple of examples I like to give is just looking at God's creation and the inherent intelligence in nature. What happens to an animal when he gets sick or injured? What do? They fast. They don't eat. And in fact, if you have a dog, if anybody's experienced this, because I've seen this, a dog that's severely injured, and it might be a really nice dog, if you try to get close to them while they're injured, they'll nip at you because they don't want to be touched. They don't want to eat. They don't want to do anything. They heal. They wait until they're healed before they eat. Think about when we're sick or we've just gone through a major surgery or something like that. We don't have an appetite. We lose our appetite because the body says, I need to heal, and the best way for me to do that is through fasting. And what do? We have the opposite mindset. We force food on the body because we say, well, you need nourishment. Oh, you're not hungry? Well, eat this anyway. You have to build up your strength. No, the body wants to heal, and the best way it does that is through fasting. Paragraph C, when fasting from solid foods, there are profound physical effects that happen with the body. And the body heals and recovers very quickly while fasting. Paragraph D, there's a lot of different ways to eliminate toxins from the body. God's design, fantastic, amazing. He's given us a intestinal tract that eliminates toxins. He's given us a skin that's porous where we can eliminate poisons through, kidneys, liver, a lymphatic system, all of these amazing pathways to eliminate toxins from the body. And if you look at the root cause of all illness and disease, and we talked about this in the second class, the physical reasons why we get sick, it's either a toxicity issue in the body or it's a mineral deficiency. If you trace back the root cause of everything we put a name on that's a sickness or a disease, it's one of those two things. And the main thing that happens to the body is toxicity. And the examples are arthritis. You get poisons built up in your joints. You can look at diabetes. It's too much sugar in the bloodstream. It's a poisoned bloodstream that's causing pancreas failure and insulin resistance. You can look at fibromyalgia. It's a toxic buildup of poisons in the muscles. MS, buildup of toxic poisons in the nervous system. You could go on and on and on. But everything that we name is usually from a toxicity issue or a mineral deficiency, and the body wants to heal it. It wants to clean it out. That's how God designed it. So how are we going to do that? Paragraph E, during a fast, large amounts of waste begin to be eliminated from the body. It can be tough to handle in the beginning, and you'll see symptoms of it. A heavily coated tongue, bad breath, body odor increases. This is the body eliminating these toxins. Paragraph F, there are exceptions, but most people who fast notice that they don't have hunger, usually after 3 days, and a lot of times they get a lot of energy. There'll be periods, kind of ebbs and flows while you're fasting. I think a lot of you have probably experienced that. I happen to have an audience here of a lot of people who fast and pray on a regular basis, so that's great. But what I love about fasting, it's very liberating to actually let go and trust God with our bodies. We finally say that, okay, not that we don't need, because we do, not that we don't need doctors, or we don't need supplements, or we don't need different things to assist in the healing process. We do. But it's a way that we can say, God, I trust you. I trust you with my body. I trust that the way you designed it wants to heal. And the only way we can truly do that is through fasting. It helps us to realize how truly fragile we are and how fragile our bodies are. And it sets us at the feet of Jesus with complete humility. And I love David in the Psalm said, I humbled myself with fasting. It's the way we truly give our bodies to God and give complete trust in him that he will heal us. And paragraph G, big one, fasting is a way to practice self-control. Self-control with our bodies and self-control when it comes to our health, our eating habits. Roman numeral 2, why do we fast? This, I think, is one of the main things that the Holy Spirit hit me with this week. Hit me really hard on the fact that there's never been a more important time in history to fast. And I came up with 3 reasons why. The first one, we've never, ever been more distracted. We have technology and entertainment and video games and TV and sports and everything that distracts us from God. And never before in history have we had this many things that distract us. So that's obviously a huge reason why we need to fast and put all our focus back on God. Number 2, on the physical level, and this is huge. I mean, this hit me really hard. Never before in history has the number 1 reason why people are not living to their full physical potential is because of what we're putting in our bodies. It's never happened before in history. People are always taken out quickly. I say taken out, that's kind of a weird choice of words, but people always died prematurely because of wars. I mean, that's still happening, of course, because of infections, bad living conditions. You know, there were a lot of other reasons, but today it's food. It's food. We have the highest rates of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes in the world. These things didn't exist. We've talked about this multiple times. This hardly existed pre-1900, these diseases. It's our food that's cutting our lives short, and it breaks God's heart. And the way we turn back to him is through fasting and prayer. Number 3, toxicity. We never had, you go back 100 years, we didn't have aspartame. We didn't have MSG. We didn't have all these addictive chemicals. Mercury in our mouths. We've had that a little bit longer than 100 years, but not throughout all of history. So all of these toxins and poisons, humans were never completely surrounded by smog and exhaust from cars. We know that living in Los Angeles, for example, people have respiratory problems from the toxic pollution there. This is a huge factor. The bodies are really, really resilient. But because of the toxicity issues, we need to cleanse these issues out of our body. It's critical now more than ever before. Paragraph B, Jesus made it very clear that his disciples were called to fast and pray. When John's disciples went to him and said, we fast, the Pharisees fast, why don't your disciples fast? Well, that's because they had Jesus. But he said that there will come a day when I won't be with you anymore and my disciples will fast. We're called to fast in prayer. I think of that moment when the disciples are trying to heal that sick person, and they couldn't cast it out, and they went to Jesus. Jesus cast it out, and they said, why couldn't we cast it out? Because this one only comes out through fasting and prayer. That is how we cast out evil, demonic influences out of our body, mentally, physically, emotionally. There's no better way than through fasting and prayer. Paragraph C, the main physical reasons to fast is because the body uses a lot of energy to digest food. We live in America. We know we eat too much. We eat the wrong things. We eat at least, I don't know if I have an exact statistic, but I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 times more food than the human body needs. And what we're putting in it doesn't have a lot of nutrition. So our body is very taxed. And even though God designed it to heal, it's not given the opportunity to do so. Because we'll spend upwards of 80% of our body's resources trying to digest food all day, every day. We're eating late at night when the body's supposed to be healing and repairing while we sleep. We very rarely give the body the opportunity to actually heal and cleanse itself. Another reason why this fasting issue is so critically important. So what happens when you fast, and I just want to give you a rough breakdown of what happens. And I talk about how the body is free to scour different dead cells, damaged tissue, etc. So what happens is the quickest fuel source for the body is sugar. So when you fast, the first thing the body does is burn through sugar, and it does that very quickly. It'll do that within 1 to 2 days. Then it goes to the stored sugar, because there's stored sugar in your liver. It's called glycogen. The body will burn that up. Then after that, it's going to get to fat, and it's going to burn up excess fat that shouldn't be there, where there's a lot of toxins and poisons that store in the fat cells. So the body will burn that. And then after that, it's really fascinating what happens. The body starts to burn illness, sickness, old cells, dead cells, tumors, cysts, things that aren't of the body that shouldn't be there. The body finally has a chance to eliminate them. But otherwise, it normally doesn't. So it's critical. And, we can do this through eating properly, getting in line with God when it comes to our diet, eating fresh fruits and vegetables and turning away from all the toxic elements in our society, and we can still heal from sickness and illness and disease. Fasting just rapidly accelerates the process, as in rapidly. Now, a lot of people are leery about fasting, and that's okay. You want to research it. You want to study it. You want to pray about it. You want to make sure it's right for you. But what hit me this week also was that God would never call us to do something that's dangerous, that's bad for us. Why would he call us in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament, over and over and over again to fast and pray when it's dangerous for us? That we have to trust God's inherent wisdom, and we have to trust him with our bodies. Paragraph D. Fasting also increases self-awareness. People begin to see more clearly. All of your senses become more acute. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. When I fast, usually day 5 or so, it's all of a sudden, it's like this sharp mental clarity, just like it hits me out of nowhere. I'm driving, and it's all like, wow, I see things I've never seen before. I mean, it's amazing. You smell things you didn't smell before. Your senses become so much more acute when we actually cleanse a lot of these toxins out of our body through fasting. And when you start eating again, you become aware of your body. Things taste differently. You become aware of what you do and do not like and what your body does and does not want. And one of the most important things is I think you gain self-confidence and ability to have self-control over your life, especially in this area of food. Roman numeral 3, benefits of fasting. Paragraph A, enhanced mental acuity. I gave you an example of a book there. It's called Fasting Can Save Your Life. But he observed 40,000 people fasting. And one of the main things he noted with every single person that fasted was once the toxic materials got out of the blood and the lymphatic system, everyone thought more clearly. People complain about brain fog and mental focus, and my concentration's bad and my memory's shot. No, your memory should not be shot. I mean, a few brain cells can hold more information than every computer in the world combined. It's the way God created it. So a lot of these issues we're having is because of the toxic environment in which we're living. Paragraph B, total body healing. So during a fast, the body undergoes a complete tearing down and rebuilding of materials at the cellular level. It gets all the way down to where each individual cell, and if you look at a cell under a microscope, it's so fascinating. We talked about this in the first class, the amazing design of the body. Each cell is like a little factory. There's things going into the cell, and there's toxins being pushed out, and there's little machines in there working, and there's nutrients being absorbed, and there's things being built and created, and it needs certain things to do that. It needs water, it needs oxygen, but there's so much toxicity in our cells that they really struggle to recreate and replicate healthy new cells. It's full of toxins. And when you cleanse and the body's able to push all these poisons out of the cells, you reoxygenate your body. You rehydrate your body. And that's when you start to heal. Paragraph C, the redistribution of nutrients. So again, the body is not going to, you're not going to lose all your vitamins and minerals, protein. You're not going to waste away. They actually have shown and proved that the muscle fibers, the amount of muscle fibers you have, don't change. You keep the same amount of muscle fibers. Now, they might get a little bit weaker while you're fasting, but as soon as you start to eat again, they immediately come back. And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of bodybuilders actually fast. The reason is because when they're fast, they eliminate all those toxins. When they start eating again, they come back stronger. They are able to lift more weight. So that's one of the little keys and tricks to a lot of people in the bodybuilding industry. They know this. So again, we have to trust God's design that the body is going to push out everything that's not of God first. That only makes sense. And it would never get to the point where it actually starts using healthy tissue unless you're literally to the point of starvation where the body doesn't have a choice. I really hope that makes sense. And that, to me, is trusting God with our bodies. Paragraph D, the list of physical benefits from fasting. I mean, there's so many. Your mental clarity improves. I mentioned that. Rapid, safe weight loss. I put in parentheses, be careful how you eat after fasting. We'll talk about it at the end. That's a huge, huge mistake a lot of people make. Nervous system, energy levels increase. You become more acute. Organs healed and regenerated. On and on and on. Skin, you want healthy-looking skin? Cleanse your body and heal your body from the inside out. Don't spend thousands of dollars on skin creams that artificially mask the problem. The problem's on the inside of the body. Breathing is better. Your digestive system totally heals. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I firmly believe that you can heal your body of anything through fasting and prayer, but nothing, I don't think you're going to heal from faster than digestive issues. I mean, you look at colitis and Crohn's and diverticulitis and all these issues. This is toxicity and inflammation in the colon because of the foods we're eating. And what's better way to heal it and allow that intestinal tract and that digestive system to actually heal than taking the burden off of it and allowing God do a work in you that he wants to do. Roman numeral 4, how to fast. Paragraph A, 1 day fasting. It's a good way to get started. You can fast 1 day a week, or if you've never fasted before, just try fasting for 1 day. 1 day a month. You got to start somewhere. Don't start with a 40-day fast. Unless you really feel called to do so. Yeah, you can take these things slowly. You have your whole life in which to do so. You can always increase it as you feel the Lord gives you grace to do so. And when you do a 1 day fast, I just gave 3 basic things you can do. You can do a 1 day water fast. You can do a 1 day vegetable juice fast, a 1 day fruit juice fast. You can do 1 days where all you eat is raw fruits and vegetables. Those are all just really simple things you can do for a 1 day fast. And again, these are just examples. There's so many books and other information, and I encourage you to really study this topic because there's so many other things you can do. I want to talk real quick on paragraph B about water fasting, okay, because I know people do that, so I want to address it. You drink at least 2 waters of water a day. Some people might need to drink upwards of a gallon. You really want to stay hydrated. That's critical. And you want to drink a good quality water. Go get some fresh mountain spring water from the nearby mountain. I know, it's kind of a bummer. We don't have mountains here. But if you can find spring water, great. If not, just make sure you're drinking a good, clean, purified water with some minerals in it that's going to help keep you hydrated. 10 days on a water fast. Now, I don't know exactly how accurate this is, but the less you put in your body, the faster the fasting process, the healing process, the detoxification process. So I read that 10 days of water fasting is equivalent to a 30-day juice fast because of how much more rapidly the body cleanses and detoxes. However, I bolded that it is not recommended to water fast unless you pray and feel the grace in which to do so. It's very taxing on the body. Please, if you water fast, try not to have too much responsibility and things on your plate. We are going to rely on the Lord's grace to help us through the fast, to do our daily activities that are important to do, but understand that it is going to be more challenging with a water fast than it would be for, say, like a juice fast, which we'll get to. And the other point that I think is really important that I just want to make is that it's a good idea to juice fast for a few days to kind of prepare your body for a water fast, and then when you come off the water fast, to do some juice after that. And we'll talk more about that when we get to different ways you can fast. But just critically, I want to reemphasize that don't water fast unless you're prepared and unless you feel the grace in which to do so. It can literally throw the body into shock, especially if you have an issue, which we'll talk about later, some of the things to watch out for health-wise when it comes to fasting. That can be dangerous for people. Paragraph C, juice fasting, much safer. Much safer. The body still cleanses, heals, and detoxes when you juice fast. Your energy will be greater just because you're going to be providing a lot of nutrients to your body from fresh vegetable and or fruit juices. So it's definitely a safer option for a lot of people. You should be able to carry out your normal activities. And it still takes the burden off of digestion. So you're still going to cleanse, heal, and detox. Paragraph D, a 30-day juice fast is great. A lot of people do that. There's obviously a significance to 40 days for a lot of people, and biblically speaking, so 40 days, another great option. But don't start there. Again, start with a day, go 3 days, go 7 days. I'll give some of those options at the end, but you definitely want to feel called to do that. And most people can safely juice fast for 30 days. The majority of people will have the grace to safely juice fast for 30 days on a physical level. Paragraph E, the third option, especially if you're new to fasting and you want to basically fast, all of the things out there in the world that are causing a lot of sickness and illness that we've talked about in past classes, a lot of the processed foods and the fast food and the things we know aren't building health in our bodies, is to fast and just eat raw fruits and vegetables for a few days. You can kind of call that a Daniel fast. Just eating God's foods for a short amount of time. Roman numeral 5, preparing for a fast and things to consider. So paragraph A, inform yourself about fasting. Do your own investigation. Read about it. Read about the spiritual benefits of fasting, the physical benefits and effective fasting. Make sure you're well-studied, well-versed on the topic. Make sure you pray about it. Determine the duration and time period for your fast. So 1 to 10 days is a great place to start. You might want to arrange a time where you have minimal activity, like a weekend if you happen to have the weekends off, or whatever feels like is going to work best for you. Now, if you have a heavily physically demanding job, again, understand it might be a little bit more difficult. If it's summer and you're a construction worker and you have to work 10 hours while you're sweating all day, it could be a little more challenging. So you want to take all those things into consideration. Paragraph C, fast at a frequency comfortable for you. So once or twice a year. A lot of people cleanse in the spring, a time of renewal. A lot of people cleanse and detox in the fall. And summer is a good time for a lot of people. Winter can be more challenging unless you live in California or Florida, maybe. It might be a little bit easier. But here in the Midwest, it gets really cold sometimes. This winter, we got pretty blessed. But I didn't get to go sledding. It was really sad. But it's definitely more challenging in the winter if it's really cold to fast. So just, again, things to take into consideration. And paragraph D, determine your activity level. I think it's a great idea to get out in nature, to walk, to do some light rebounding. You might not be able to do really invigorating exercise. You may not be able to do P90X. Maybe. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll have the grace to do that. That's awesome. Okay, but you might not. So just, again, things to consider. Paragraph E, assisting the fast if necessary. So these are just some simple tricks, not tricks, just tips of things that you can do to assist the fasting process. Enemas. Enemas is going to be very important for people that have a history of constipation and they want to speed up the detox process. People with really poor liver function, for example, say they have a history of liver issues. You can help eliminate toxins faster through assisting the detoxification pathway through something like enemas or a colonics. You can do a neti pot or a sinus spray. A lot of people, when they fast, they notice they're really congested. Again, the body's trying to push toxins out, and that's one of the ways it does it, is through the sinus cavity. So you can assist that process. You want to shower or bathe. Not that you guys don't shower and bathe every day, but you just want to assist keeping the pores open, and the dry skin brushing is really good to slough off old dead skin cells, which opens the pores of the skin and helps speed that detoxification pathway. And I'm really big on the magnesium oil. The magnesium we're chronically deficient in, and it opens up all the detoxification pathways of the body. So that's really going to assist in opening up all the detoxification ways of the body so that we can that we can cleanse and detoxify and heal more quickly. Paragraph E, prepare for reactions from fasting. So this is pretty inevitable. I know people have experienced this, so I'm just going to go over a few of them. But it's really important to understand that it really depends on your current state of health. But everybody, because of the environment we live in, are going to experience some of these symptoms. It's really inevitable for most people. The first 3 days are definitely the most difficult. One is because you're hungry, and after 3 days, most people, the appetite disappears. But what happens is a lot of people get headaches, joint pain. You know that if you've been a huge coffee drinker and you do a fast, what happens? You have like the worst headaches. You're a diet soda drinker, it's the worst headache. Now, what is that telling you? The body's intelligent. The body's telling you that is a toxin, and there's too much of it in here, and I'm going to eliminate it. That's why the headache is really bad in the beginning, and then it disappears as the body is able to eliminate that toxin. Why does it affect you so much? Because the body, in its inherent intelligent wisdom, will store toxins in places that will not harm you, even though you're bombarding it with excess toxins. But as soon as you start to detoxify, the body says, all right, I can release this. Where does it release it? Bloodstream, lymphatic system. All these toxins circulating for the bloodstream are going to cause these reactions. So that's why you have these detox reactions. This aspartame in diet soda that's complete poison is all of a sudden now in your bloodstream in large amounts because the body's trying to get rid of it. This excess caffeine is now in your bloodstream that the body's trying to get rid of. That's why we have the headaches. That's the detox reaction. That's a good thing. I know it seems hard to believe, but that's a good thing. The body's trying to get rid of the excess, the toxins. Your tongue becomes coated. I mentioned this earlier. These are normal reactions to cleansing and detoxification. So you really need to listen to your body and rest. Rest. It's a great time to rest. You will have ebbs and flows, as I mentioned earlier. You'll have times where you have the most amazing, abundant energy. And then the next day, you might be totally worn out and feel like doing nothing. And you say, Lord, give me strength for this day. So it's really kind of a roller coaster a lot of times when we fast. You also will often experience emotional healing, emotional reactions. So I just want to stress this again, that I think the best way to cleanse emotionally and physically is through fasting. So old stuff might come up. We all have struggled with difficulties from our past. We all have struggled with sin of our past. We've all been hurt. We've all been broken. There's not one exception to that in this room. And so oftentimes the emotional stuff will surface. And that's good because you want to give that to the Lord. You want to be free of that. It's an awesome way to do that through fasting. Now, if the symptoms are unreasonably strong and persistent, you might want to consider altering the fast. And just to give you a few examples, and I want to encourage you here not to be like, this is too much, end the fast, and then go eat McDonald's. Okay, we're going to talk more about that later. You know that's not what we're supposed to do. But if you're water fasting, and I haven't made this point yet, the less you put in the body, the faster the healing and detoxification. The faster it throws your body, because your body goes, aha, I can get rid of poison now because I'm not eating. I'm not surrounded by toxicity anymore. So the less you put in the body, the faster that's going to happen. So that's why water fasting has the quickest and most intense physical reaction. Juice fasting would be after that. Okay, then you could maybe do blended drinks. But if you're water fasting and you have really bad physical symptoms, add some juice in. If you're juice fasting, add some fiber in. This will slow the detoxification pathway. You'll still cleanse, you'll still detox, you'll still heal. But I encourage you not to necessarily end it and potentially end it with something in a way that we shouldn't, that could have a damaging effect on the body. Paragraph G, possible effects of detoxification. I am not going to go through all of these, but I do want to mention maybe a couple. One is dizziness. A tip on dizziness is to get down on one knee. The lower your center of gravity, the less dizzy you get. You know, people have adrenal fatigue and adrenal problems. They lay down, they stand up real fast, and they get dizzy. So that's a good way to stop the dizziness or to stop blackouts. Back pain, very common when people cleanse and detox. They might not understand why. Like, man, I'm cleansing and my back's killing me. Well, a lot of toxins are either filtering through the kidneys or moving out the intestinal tract, and that will cause pain in the lower back or the kidney area. Bad breath. Nobody likes bad breath, but it's going to happen. Sorry, it's inevitable. So keep your tongue brushed more than anything. You don't want to scare everybody too much when you're fasting. Canker sores, cold viruses, blackouts I mentioned, diarrhea. You can slow that if you have really bad diarrhea with some fiber. Headaches. The magnesium oil works really good for that. Mucus. Why does the body produce mucus? It's protecting the body. And it's a way it eliminates poisons and toxins. That's why when we eat, for a lot of people, most people who eat processed, homogenized, pasteurized, unhealthy dairy, immediately create a lot of mucus because the body says, I don't want that in here. That's why when we're sick, we get lots of mucus and lots of congestion. The body's trying to surround that infection, cast it out. So when you cleanse and detox, the body's going to go, all right, I got to neutralize these toxins and I got to get them out of here. And one of the ways it does it is through mucus. And you can accelerate and assist that process. Muscle tightness, especially if you have toxins accumulated in the muscles, which happens with a lot of people with fibromyalgia and other issues. Nausea, nervousness, skin issues, that's a big one. You know, a lot of people will cleanse and detox, and all of a sudden, things will start coming out through the skin. People will get rashes and acne and boils, but be encouraged. The body's pushing the stuff out, and your skin will have the healthiest, most vibrant, amazing glow when you cleanse all of that out of the body. But the skin is the largest elimination pathway of the body. It's technically the largest organ. You guys have heard that. So the body will use that as a way to push out these toxins. So you can potentially expect that to happen. Fatigue, obviously. Let's talk about some pre-existing issues on why you would want to be extremely careful when fasting. One is heart disease. Okay, so if you have blocked arteries or maybe heart issues or arrhythmias, what happens when you fast? You're going to be pushing a lot of toxins and poisons into your bloodstream. So that can be dangerous if you have a history of heart issues. So you might want to do a slower more controlled type of fast if you choose to do so at all. Hypoglycemia, so blood sugar issues. This is high blood sugar or low blood sugar. But especially people with low blood sugar, they're going to get dizzy. They're going to feel faint. And that's because the hormones aren't working properly in their body. The adrenals aren't functioning properly. They're not producing adequate hormones to get the blood to the brain quick enough. So you can control that through doing bananas or avocado while you're fasting. You'll still cleanse, you'll still heal, you'll still detox, but you're giving the body something so that you don't have those blood sugar fluctuations. Kidney issues and liver issues. Why? These are two major detoxification pathways of the body. If you have kidney disease, if you're on dialysis, never, ever in a million years would you want to do an intense fast, because it's going to throw all those toxins right into kidneys that aren't working. Liver disease. I had someone mention to me earlier this week that they knew someone that had liver issues, and they started a fast, an extended fast, and they got a really toxic liver that actually sent them to the hospital. So you have to be careful, because it's going to put a lot of burden on these elimination pathways. So you want to be very, very conscious of that, very aware of that. Roman numeral 6, fasting concerns. Not advisable to water fast with pre-existing conditions. Pregnancy would be another one. We don't want pregnant women fasting. They need nutrition for that baby. The other ones I mentioned, schizophrenia is another one. But if you choose to, or if you really want to fast and you have these issues, you might want to be under the care of a physician or a doctor. Many people, paragraph B, if you have a health issue, one of the ways you can do it, especially if it's tied to blood sugar issues or heart issues, is you can control the fast with bananas and avocados. Now, I just gave those two examples. Okay, there's other things you could use, I'm sure. Again, there's all kinds of great books out there. These are two that I know help and that they work. Avocados is going to provide some fats and some protein, which is going to stabilize your blood sugar for long periods of time. Banana is going to be more of a quick fix. It's instant sugar, but it's really going to help with those issues. You'll still cleanse. You'll still detox. So don't feel like that there's just no way you can do it because you have these blood sugar issues. You can control it. The other way you can control it is through fiber. Fiber will slow the release of sugar into the bloodstream, and it will control your blood sugars if you add some fiber. So those are just some good ideas. Paragraph C, proceeding slowly and very carefully. So I just threw this out 1 through 10 as just a suggestion. Okay, you can see where you might fall or fit into this, but you can fast for 1 meal a day if you haven't fasted. I mean, a lot of people, you ask them to skip 1 meal, and they literally think they're going to go into that starvation mode. Okay, you won't, but you can start there. You can start with skipping a meal. And seriously, for a lot of people, that's a big deal. You can fast for 1 day. You can eat just fruits and vegetables. You can do just vegetable juices. You can do just water for a day, then 3 days, then 7 days. And again, continue as you feel like the Lord gives you grace in which to do so. Advanced fasting options, 14, 30, 40 days, doing only vegetable juices or fruit juices. And you can get great books on juicing, and I'm not really getting into that tonight. I just really want to encourage you about the benefits of fasting and how it physically heals the body, in addition to all the spiritual benefits. But you can buy great books on, if you have liver issues, for example. What is the liver like? It likes green foods, bitters, dandelion. Beets are fantastic for the liver and the gallbladder. Carrots, fantastic for healing the liver. If you have kidney issues, radishes are amazing. Watermelon's amazing for the kidneys. So you can really get into some detail, if you want to heal something specifically, why you're fasting, why you're connecting with God when it comes to specific things that God created that is going to heal you in that area. So you can research that more. There's a lot of great information on that. Fasting for 40 days, I just gave another idea. You can fast for 5 days on fruit juice, then 2 days water, 5 days juice, 2 days water. It's a good way to alternate it. And again, anytime you do water, it's going to accelerate the detoxification process. Paragraph D, know when you are finished. So a couple ideas on knowing when you're finished with a fast. And there's not going to be a set protocol that tells you when you're done. The Holy Spirit might lay it on you. You might just feel like you can't do it any longer. You might want to alter it, like we talked about in the fast in the beginning. But one good guide is your tongue. Your tongue is going to have a thick white coating on it for the most part. And when your tongue turns back to a nice, pink, healthy, pretty-looking tongue, for the most part, you have cleansed and healed your body. So that's a good indicator. Another one is a lot of times people will fast, and like I said, for most people, after the third day, you lose appetite, and you're not hungry, and you're able to just go. But a lot of people at day 20, day 28, day 33, all of a sudden an overwhelmingly strong sensation of hunger hits them. And that might be a time to start weaning off the fast. Listen to your body. That's the bottom line. Listen to your body, listen to the Holy Spirit, and really pay attention. Paragraph E, going into the fast with the right spirit. A lot of people will say, okay, I'm going to fast starting on Monday, and it's going to be a 40-day fast, so I better eat all the ice cream, all the fast food, all the Twinkies, all the donuts I can possibly gorge myself with before I start the fast. I can speak from experience because I've done it. So I am the first one to admit that I am guilty of all the wrong ways to fast. But God is calling me, and he's calling you guys to something much greater. So I encourage you that it defeats the purpose of the fast. It's a time that should be sacred with the Lord, and we go into the fast feeling guilty and feeling gluttonous and having cravings that are hard to control. It's just not an intelligent way to go into a fast. Paragraph F, ending the fast. This is critical. A lot of people have the mindset that almost a religious spirit, like I have to fast because God calls me to fast and I'm just going to do this fast, but I cannot wait till that 8th day because, then I'm going to get to eat X, Y, Z again. And the whole time during the fast, you're still thinking about food. Again, I know it because I've done it. I can't wait for the fast to get over so I can eat what I enjoy again. Wrong spirit. And if you end the fast that way, I just think there's a lot of repercussions. Again, you're going to feel guilty, you're going to feel gluttonous, and it's not growing in the fruits of the Spirit, what's one of the fruits of the Spirit? Self-control. And God really wants us to have that in our bodies, especially in this area of food. Paragraph G, eating causes a cycle of hunger. So when we fast after about 3 days, we lose the sensation for hunger. And when hunger returns, it's often time to end the fast if it's really strong. Now, what's important to understand here is that your stomach is this big. The stomach will stretch 10 plus times the size of that. Literally, people have stomachs that are this big. And it's because God designed a body that is going to adapt to what we throw at it. It's not going to let your stomach just explode. Okay? If we did that, well, I guess we wouldn't overeat, but that's not the way the body's designed. It's very resilient. And when you fast, your stomach literally will shrink back to this size. So I would just like to ask, because I've experienced, who's experienced where they fasted and they came off a fast and ate a meal and literally ate a little tiny meal and were full? Who's experienced that? Oh, over half the room. Okay? So you guys know that the body doesn't need a lot of food, it needs the right food. That's inherent wisdom right there. That tells you that your body doesn't need to eat tons and tons of food and huge portions. It needs nutritious food, quality food, and it won't take a lot to get you full. But you don't know that until you've fasted and you've gotten your body back into that state where it can realize that. Number one, so these are some guidelines that you can follow when breaking a fast. If you water fast, break it with juices. Start putting that nutrition back into your body. Your body will just, it's almost like, you can literally feel the nutrition flowing through every pore of your body and every cell of your body. It's the most amazing feeling. Who's experienced that? Yeah, I saw her laughing over there. She loves it. You can feel it in every cell of your body when you've fasted and then you put healthy nutrition back into your body. It's an amazing feeling. Number two, if you're juice fasting, you can break it with whole fruits and vegetables. And do that for a few days, or soups or broth, something really light. You have to be gentle with your system. After 5 or 6 days, you can start eating full meals a day. But I really encourage you to break it slowly in a controlled way. Again, for the spiritual repercussions, of gluttony and lack of self-control, but also for the physical reasons. Number 3, this should be a period of understanding your body. People have a lot of food allergies and food sensitivities and things that are affecting their physical bodies. You will never experience that more until after you come off a fast. I had a friend in Las Vegas I'm going to pick on real quick. She did a 10-day fast, and it was like a Daniel's fast. She did fruits and vegetables for 10 days. And we talked about it, coming off the fast gently and reintroducing meals slowly. Well, her and her husband both did it. And to celebrate the breaking of the fast on the 11th day, they went to Panda Express. And she literally told me that she has never been more sick in her entire life. She was violently vomiting for almost 3 days, 3 full days. So what happens when you fast and you give your body back over to God, He's doing everything in His power to restore it to the way He intended it to. And when you come off a fast and you put poison back into the body, it's going to reject it. Who's experienced that? Oh, much fewer. Okay. So it's interesting. I see this all the time when I work with people. They're gluten intolerant, they're sugar intolerant. They eliminate it for a month, and then they go, man, I went to this party and I ate this, and they were sick. Because the body wants to heal. It's the way God designed it. It wants to heal from these things that are toxic to the body. But it will put up with a lot. It will put up with a lot. But this is a really good way to kind of restore the body and really pay attention as you put things back into your body. What are you reacting to? What makes you sick? What makes you not feel well? So I really encourage you to put only God-created food back into your body and do it in a controlled manner for many, many, many reasons. And they have shown that if you break your fast with toxic man-made food, it actually negates a lot of the physical benefits of the fast. Why? You've just thrown your body back into shock. Okay, a lot of people do crash diets. We see that with crash diets. People do HCG and all these radical diets to lose weight. And they don't change their lifestyle. They don't focus on God-created foods to have healthy weight. They focus on a quick fix. And it really throws their body into a negative state. It really throws off their metabolism. And, it's sad. You actually hear people who suffer emotionally for long periods of time, physically for long periods of time, because they throw their body back and forth in between these states of shock. So I can't encourage you enough to, when you fast, to do it in an intelligent way and come off the fast intelligently, the way God designed your body. Number 5, weight control. So I'm going to talk about weight real quick because a lot of people are really frustrated because they kind of yo-yo back and forth. They want to lose weight, and they'll fast or they'll do some kind of a diet to lose weight. And there was a statistic I read one time that said 80% of people who diet and lose weight gain back more weight than they started with, 80%. Why? Because they do something to lose the weight, but after they come off of that diet or that fast, they're not realigning their body with God's creation. And they're putting things back into the body that we've talked about all the last classes that don't bring health and life to the body. So that's why you see, if you go to other cultures, you might see an overweight person or two, but for the most part, you don't. I remember when I lived in Europe a few years ago, and I just couldn't believe it, that there weren't a lot of really overweight, obese people. And they still walked everywhere, and they walked to work, and they stopped at home. They stopped at the store on the way home to make their meals at home every night on the way back from work. I mean, just a totally different culture, a different environment. So we have to realign our bodies with that and have that intention when it comes to weight loss. It's okay to lose weight. It's healthy, to be of a healthy weight. You don't have to be skin and bones. I encourage nobody to look like what the world perceives as healthy, like these super skinny supermodels and things. That's not God's design either. You want to be healthy. You want to be healthy. So just realign yourself with God and what He's created, and you'll have health in your body. Change of lifestyle is always critical. And the reason why there's a multi-billion-dollar weight loss industry is because people don't want to align themselves with God and the foods and the things He created. That's why there's a multi-billion-dollar industry in that area. So we just need to get lined up. Easier said than done, I know, but we can do it. We can do it with the Lord's grace. So I'm going to end with a couple of quotes. One is by a doctor who helped a lot of people through fasting. And healing through fasting. He said, fasting and natural diet, though essentially unknown as a therapy, which is really sad. It's really sad that nobody knows that fasting is the single best way to heal the human body of all affliction. He says, this should be the first treatment when someone discovers that he or she has a problem. It should not be applied only to the most advanced cases. So a lot of people do this as an extreme. And again, that can be dangerous. You have an extreme compromised system and health problem, and then you decide to fast. That's when it can be dangerous. Whether the patient has a cardiac condition, hypertension, autoimmune disease, fibroids, or asthma, he or she must be informed that fasting and a natural plant-based diet are a viable alternative to conventional therapy and an effective one. There are hundreds of articles, and there really are. This information isn't new. I mean, we've obviously known about it for thousands of years. But it's also documented all around the world, the benefits of fasting. In the medical literature, documenting the value of fasting in improving the functions in the entire body, including the brain, and I like this last sentence, the time may come when not offering this substantially more effective nutritional approach will be considered malpractice. It's one of those things like, biblically speaking, when you know the truth, and you don't live out the truth, or you don't share the truth with other people. And it's the same thing in this area of health. When you know the truth, you know what truly brings life to the body, you really want to share it with people. You have the love in your heart to share it with people, especially if you have the love of Christ in your heart. And the last one by Mark Twain, because you all know who he is, spent a lot of time fasting. He said, a little starvation can really do more. It's funny he uses the word starvation, but can do more than the average sick man than can be the best medicines and the best doctors. I do not mean a restricted diet. I mean total abstinence from food. I speak from experience. Starvation has been my cold and fever doctor for 15 years and has accomplished a cure in all instances. That's Mark Twain. So I can't stress enough how important this topic is, how important this topic is to the Lord, how important this topic is to connecting with Him, how important it is to line up our physical bodies, ourselves, to fulfill our purpose and our mission, to have healthy children and healthy future generations. Our children are being compromised out of the womb. I just listened on the radio on the way over here that children are being born immediately having to detox from painkiller medication more so than ever in history. There's so many things going on that's affecting our future generations. And if the fastest way to heal the body, physical body, and to connect with God is through fasting and prayer, why would we not want that for us and our future generations? Love you guys. Amen. Q&A.
Hi, Vaughn. Just a quick question. You said for, like, if you have low blood to eat a banana and avocado. And that was my question. Did you mean eat or do you mean blend? Or
You can blend it or eat it, either way.
Okay.
You're not going to juice it because you don't get a lot of juice out of an avocado. So just either way, just it's the actual protein and the fats and the nutrition of it is going to stabilize you. And on that note, is, do it as much as you need to through the day. You don't want to be fighting the dizziness and those type of symptoms. You want to stay stable for safety reasons. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's fine. That was one of the things I was going to ask is about like pureed food. I want to do the fasting as intensely as possible to get my body digesting the bad things. But at the same time, how do you, nourish the adrenals, which are worn out, and you don't want to not, or is it, you know what I mean? It's like, do I let that go and work on just fast, or can I puree some food without slowing the fast down too much? That
Right.
sort of thing. How do you?
Yeah, well, one of the best ways, especially with adrenal issues, is to do the avocado, because the adrenals and the glandular system needs fats and proteins. So I think a big part of it is faith, just trusting that God will heal the body. And, we don't want to do anything dangerous that causes fatigue or, not fatigue, but dizziness and blackouts and things like that, which can happen with adrenal weakness. So we really want to, and that's one of those things where you can do like controlled fasting. Okay, you can do a fast on blended drinks with avocado. Now your body's still going to heal and detox. And as your body gets stronger, you can go the opposite way. Go with fruits and vegetables. Then go to blended drinks with the fiber. Then go to vegetable juices. Then go to water as you heal and get stronger. That would be a great way to do it, especially if you have compromised health. So thanks for asking that question. I think that'd be a decent recommendation.
Somewhere in the spectrum between water and juices, I would put the Master Cleanser. Could you address that and just say a few words on that?
Yeah, I didn't talk about specific cleanses. There's a lot of them out there. I think the Master Cleanse is great in a healthy body. I think the Master Cleanse is an issue for people with infections, people with cancer. Just, again, my opinion, might be plenty of people that disagree, but it's a lot of sugar when you do the maple syrup. So I think that could be a potential issue. I think the true healing benefits of the Master Cleanse are the lemon and cayenne pepper. I mean, let's do an hour class on lemon and cayenne pepper. That heals the body, gets rid of mucus, heals the digestive tract, cleanses, hydrates the cells, cleanses all the toxins out of the body. Lemon and cayenne are awesome. So what I encourage people to do, and again, you can Master Cleanse. It's great. Tens of thousands of people have done it and benefited from it. If people want to do that, I encourage people to do the lemon and the cayenne pepper and water and drink vegetable juices instead of doing the sugar. That's just an option of something you can do. But I think the Master Cleanse is a great option.
If you do have a compromised gut and you're trying to heal that, will it heal just automatically on the blended juice or water fast, or do you need to add things or do supplemental things?
It'll heal.
It'll just heal.
It'll heal. The body wants to restore you to health all the way down to the cellular level of each individual cell.
So it can just do it on its own without me putting more supplements or anything.
Absolutely.
Just
Now,
time.
understand that when you fast, your body's going to purge all the toxins and poisons out. So if you have a digestive issue and then the day after the fast you start eating McDonald's and donuts again, you could very quickly get back to that state of negative health. But if you nourish the body after you've purged out a lot of the poison with fresh vegetable juices, because those things are healing, right? God uses and created those things to heal and nourish our bodies. So reintroducing food intelligently will heal and nourish the body and complete the healing process.
Thank you.
Yeah, after a fast, how soon can you reintroduce healthy fats, like, say, coconut oil? Like, could you do that immediately after a fast, or should you wait a little bit?
I would say a couple of days. I would say, if you're just doing fruits and vegetables, you could introduce some healthy fats really the next day. But if you're just doing water, just doing juice, you might give it a couple days and transition to soups, blended drinks, and work the fats in later. But if it's a good healthy fat, unless you have a major gallbladder issue or liver issue, the body's going to be able to process that pretty well.
If you're fasting, should you still take all your nutritional supplements?
Great question. I really like the Holy Spirit to guide you in this one. Obviously, I think there's great supplements out there that can do great things. And I gave an example of just some things that you can do to assist with the healing process. But what you noticed on those examples I gave you is I didn't give you a lot of supplements. Now, I do like the magnesium oil. You don't have to do that. I really think it's a good time to completely lean on the Lord and say, I'm going to trust you to heal my body and not take a bunch of supplements. Now, that being said, you can do a fast and put chlorella or spirulina in your body, which is one of the most nutritious foods on the entire planet. You can do a fast with, supplements that help cleanse your liver, herbs that help cleanse your liver, help your adrenals. You can do those things as well, and I think there can be a benefit to that. I really think you need to pray about that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with completely leaning on the Lord and trusting that he will heal and restore our bodies the way he designed it.
When you soak your feet in magnesium oil, how much do you use?
The one I have is on the bottle, but it's like 2-3 ounces, and you put 2-3 ounces of the oil and then some warm water just to cover your toes, and you soak in it for 15 to 20 minutes a night.
Okay, and the other question is, at Vitamin Shop, it looked like they had 3 or 4 different types of magnesium oil with different technical names.
Right.
So
Magnesium chloride.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. When you're fasting, is it better to steam vegetables or raw?
It's a good question. It really kind of depends on your digestion. A lot of people have really weak digestion, and they're not processing things well. For a long time, I couldn't eat salads because my digestion was weak, and I just didn't feel good and had lots of gas and just didn't work for me. So a lot of people will do steamed foods because they're kind of pre-digested. Your body processes them a lot quicker and better. So I really think it depends on where you're at in your health. Ideally, it's raw. I mean, that's where the healing power is. That's going to contain the full spectrum of nutrition and the living enzymes. Animals in the wild, with rare exception, eat nothing but raw foods that God gave them. And they look pretty darn good up until the day they die. They might get a little gray hair. That moose might get a little gray hair under his chin. But when he passes, he looks basically the same he did when he first became an adult. And they're eating, they don't have that whole, problem with sin that we have. But, they eat in cooperation with God, and they're really healthy. It's only when we put them in zoos and feed them the wrong things, or our own pets, and we feed them grains and things they're not supposed to eat, that a lot of these problems manifest. I don't know how I got off onto that tangent, but anyway, next.
I'm a less active teenager. I do a lot of tech work and stuff, and so a lot of my activities aren't very active. Would there be any tips that you would give in regards to fasting or diet in general that I should take into consideration, considering I don't do as many athletic or anything activities?
So are you asking if you should do more activity?
Or any tips maybe related to diet or fasting, anything I should take into consideration, seeing as I'm not nearly as active as other teenagers my age?
I gotcha. Well, I would just encourage, if nothing else, just to walk. You want the blood flowing. You want the lymphatic system flowing, because that's going to help eliminate toxins and poisons faster. But if because of your job or whatever you can't do that, then you can use some of those tips I gave about assisting the detox process, the dry skin brushing, the magnesium oil, just things to help assist the detoxification process.
A question that has nothing to do with fasting, sorry. Could you comment on microwaves?
Oh, okay. Here's the easiest way to think about a microwave. Take 2 seeds from a God-given living plant, plant one in the ground, and water it. Take the other seed, put it in the microwave for 3 seconds. Plant it in the ground. See which one grows. Okay, the microwave destroys all the living properties of anything you put food into. It actually changes the molecular structure of the food. And it's really, research the history of microwaves. I mean, the Russians invented it, and when they did the studies on it and saw how dangerous they were, they advised their citizens not to use them anymore and started exporting them all around the world. So, yeah, that type of radiation frequencies will damage. You know, if you got like I don't know what the machine is, like a radiation detector thing in your house, and you turn your microwave on, that thing will go like crazy. So, yeah, when I first learned about that, I started using my microwave for storage.
I was just wondering about vegetable broths, if those are good. Like you put the vegetables in, and then you blend it afterwards. You don't waste vegetables. And then my second question was on diluting like juices, so they won't have as much sugar, maybe.
Great ideas. Yeah, both of those are great thoughts. One, yeah, you can do blended drinks with soups. And so just a reminder, again, the less you put in, the faster the detox. If you want to slow it a little bit, do some blended soups and things like that, especially if you have digestive issues and the raw isn't working so well with your body. That's a great option. And then diluting, even for a lot of people, juicing is too much at once for the body. So you can dilute it with water. Say you're doing a green drink, for example, and the taste is just about to knock you out. You can dilute it, and that'll help slow the process a little bit and help with palatability a lot of times. So good thoughts.
Fasting for 1 meal a day all year round, is it as good as, like a 3 days fast and things? And also, second question is, fasting breakfast all year round, is it, same as a good result as like a fasting lunch? Is there any difference?
It really depends on the person. Now, it really, again, depends on what's going on with the person. But I will tell you that a great way to skip a meal, if you want to fast 1 meal a day, is skipping breakfast. Now, we can look at this from both ends. So first, skipping breakfast. So at night, what happens? Your body's trying to heal, repair, rejuvenate. When you get up in the morning, drink water with lemon. Assist the detoxification process. Coffee and donuts does not assist the detoxification process. So your body will continue to cleanse and heal and get well if you treat it right in the morning. And even skipping a meal will continue that process. If you go to bed at 9 o'clock and then eat at noon the next day, you really just did a 15-hour fast. I think that's great. You can look at it from the other side. You can eat a decent breakfast or lunch and not eat dinner, because same thing, from noon until 6 a.m. the next morning, you're taking that burden off of digestion, where you can eat really light or just juice. That's another option. It's just doing a vegetable juice in the morning, just doing a vegetable juice in the evening. Anything we can do to take our burden off of digestion will allow the body to cleanse and heal faster. The only time I recommend people not do that, especially for breakfast, is if you do have blood sugar issues. If you skip breakfast, a lot of times you will really struggle to even make it to lunch, or you'll have the dizziness or the fatigue or a lot of those issues. So sometimes it's important to start your morning with a good protein or a healthy fat to keep your blood sugars stable if you do have those issues.
Okay, I had a few questions. One, like carrot juice, is good if you blend it yourself, but if you're pressed for time or something, that I've seen in some of the health food places, carrot juice in a bottle. Is that really just a waste of money and it doesn't do anything for your body?
I don't think so. I mean, that's a really good question. of course, everybody's going to say, get it fresh and juice it yourself, and that's always, always ideal. But if you're in the middle of the fast and you just don't have time and you're out and about and you're starving, I'd rather you buy some 100% carrot juice in the store.
Right.
And, I don't think that, of course, who knows how long it's been in the bottle, we just don't know. But I think that's okay. You're going to get satisfaction from that.
Okay, just 2 other items that I don't think I've heard you mention anything, like shea butter for your skin or different things, and diatomaceous earth.
Okay. Shea butter is great for the skin. You can do coconut oil on your skin. You can do olive oil on the skin. Those are all great things. What was the second thing you mentioned? Diatomaceous earth. I just really didn't get into all that. I could name 20 things that you could take while you're fasting that assist the detox process. Minerals. Diatomaceous earth, the reason we take diatomaceous earth is because of the silica content. It is one of the main building blocks for bones, joints, ligaments, tissues, etc. Again, I just will stress the fact that I think if you allow God to do his work on you while you fast, when you come off the fast, it might be a better time to add in your healthy supplements that will then build and strengthen and regenerate the body.
What do you think about naked juice?
You just have to look at who owns naked juice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, if you're in a pinch,
Yeah.
go for it. But no, you shouldn't. I don't think it's something to have on a daily basis. We really need to focus on going to the farmers markets and getting stuff fresh. No doubt about it. But in a pinch.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like a transitional thing.
Yeah,
'cause
sometimes that happens. Let's do 3 more.
For someone who is intolerant to bananas and avocados, is there any way to get rid of those types of allergies?
Both? Mm-hmm. Okay. There's other things you can do to stabilize yourself. So those are the 2 I just think about right off the top of my head. But, anything you do during the fast to stabilize blood sugars, is that what you're asking? Like, what else can you do in replacement of?
I'm asking how to get rid of those allergies.
Oh, how to get rid of those allergies. Oh, fast. Really, if you have food allergies or food intolerances, it's a problem in your intestinal tract, leaky gut, protein spilling out into the bloodstream that shouldn't be there, and your body's it's causing an autoimmune reaction in the body, or liver, the liver being so toxic, so blocked, so congested, that the body can't process it, the liver can't process it. So it's one of those 2 issues. So if you fast or you cleanse and you heal your intestinal tract and or your liver, those food sensitivities will disappear. Now, if you're intolerant to gluten or you get anaphylactic shock from peanuts, I'd recommend not ever reintroducing those things. But I truly feel that we should be able to eat all of the things that God created in their raw original form, even though we can't sometimes when we have compromised health, that we can heal ourselves of that. And I hear all the time about people receiving prayer, because they couldn't eat a certain things and they were healed of that. So prayer and fasting, I really think can heal anything.
How young can you start fasting?
I am not going to answer that question. I'm sorry. It can be very dangerous for children to fast. Again, more and more children are being born compromised with mercury toxicity because the mom had mercury fillings, with having to withdraw from pain medications, estrogenic because mom was on birth control. There's so many reasons a child is compromised today, and in their weak, fragile state, fasting is not a good idea. So have them eat really, really healthy and really nutritious. And I just don't want to give you an age because, I would say study more about that.
I was born with this, but what about acid reflux? I don't want to take medicine. Is there something you can do naturally without?
Fast. No, I'm just kidding. There's all kinds of things. Acid reflux is usually a problem with the foods we're eating, or it's years of taking antacids and aspirin and things like that have really damaged our gut, or antibiotics. So it's one, looking at the food you're eating, and the 2 simplest things that knock out acid reflux is apple cider vinegar with or before a meal, Bragg's apple cider vinegar, or aloe vera juice. because 98 times out of 100, it's a deficiency of stomach acid, not too much. So putting that into the body or doing a digestive enzyme and or those things will take care of acid reflux. We got 2 minutes. Let's do 2 more. Is that cool?
Well, my husband, he's type 2 diabetic, so would he be able to do a fast?
You have to do a controlled fast. Yeah. Avocado, bananas, but start slow. Do fruits and vegetables. I mean, if you well, don't eat too much fruit. So, if you know, a great fast for a diabetic, and it's just off the top of my head, but focus on low sugar fruits and vegetables for an extended period of time. You're not going to put your body into any kind of a weakened condition at all, and your body will heal. Watch a movie called Simply Raw. Dr. Gabriel Cousins, the Tree of Life Institute down in Arizona, and he created a documentary called Simply Raw. He takes diabetics from all around the country, brings them to his facility. For 30 days, they eat a raw foods diet, and no more diabetes. There's a guy on 17 medications. He's on none. And it's usually within 2 weeks. Now, they don't even need the full month because it's a problem with our food supply and what we're choosing to eat.
All right. I have 2 questions. One is it okay to microwave water to heat it up for like tea or something since it's, yeah, comment on that. And then if your fingernails aren't strong and they break and stuff, what can you do?
Okay, so on the water, I might be old-fashioned, but I have a stove with a burner, and it really takes me like a minute to heat up water. So, you know, again, I'm not going to be super crazy hardcore about, oh my gosh, you're going to drink water that's in a microwave and it's going to kill you, okay? But, you know, I heat up water on a stove. The other question was hair, skin, and nails. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. She mentioned diatomaceous earth. It's high in silica. That heals, helps hair, skin, and nails grow really strong. Bamboo is the highest known source of silica. That's one of the reasons a lot of people from Asia, they always look really young, even when they get older, and they have really awesome-looking skin. They throw bamboo in everything. They throw it in all their soups and everything. It's really high in silica. It maintains the integrity of the hair, skin, nails, bones, joints, ligaments. We could do an hour class on hair, skin, and nails. But those are just a couple of things. And then thyroid issues is a big one for a lot of women, especially thyroid issues. They don't have good hair, skin, and nails because of that. So I think that's it. Thank you, guys. Bless you. And next week is the last week of this series. I know, which is really sad. I am going to kind of take off the summer because I'm going to be a married man. And we are, and we're going to take time to get settled into married life. But we definitely, Jason and I are going to talk. We definitely want to start some stuff up again in the fall in September. And class-wise, but it's been suggested that we do something this summer, which I think is a great idea. I don't want to lose momentum per se. What I was thinking might be a good idea, if you guys are interested, we'll need a location, but to do like every other week, like every 2 weeks or just once a month, a potluck. And we could even pick a theme, like do fermented foods and everybody bring in something good, or, ancient seed grains and everybody bring in their millet or quinoa recipe. And that way we can commune and talk about things and learn from each other, and that might be fun. So if anybody wants to do that, I encourage you to give me a location, and we can even do it, Monday night at 7 o'clock, because we're used to it. But whatever works, I think that'd be great to just continue something through the summer. I think that'd be a great idea. Okay.